to improve from a teams of Group Green are going to in this year's PMGC.
Dude, I'm looking at those names and it is crazy. I mean, we just saw an interview with Sertani. That is one of the major names. These guys definitely
want to have that opportunity.
I mean, speaking of Sandhawk, right? We heard from the coach right there that they want to get some points on there. Do you think we're going to see another hot drop today from them?
I don't know. I think that hot drops are going to be somewhat resolved. Who was it? I think it was Voin versus I8 Ryan Hartin. That was a little bit of an issue we had, but hopefully that's going to be resolved because Voin is not here, right? So because Voin not here, it is resolved. That just clears out the entire issue. But of course, looking at the leaderboards, Hodrix, as we've seen, every team in the top 8 is from Group Green, which are not playing today. And not going to lie, with the 68 points of 4MV, it is seeming like all teams of Group Green are going to advance into the last chance stage. So, yeah, all these teams, good job. You guys made it. GG, well played.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, I did not expect that at all. I thought we were going to see some teams definitely like biting their nails in Group Green for today. But nah, they're big chilling. We're looking at the second page right here. This is that cutoff, folks. That 16th place. That is where you want to be at a minimum, right, Max?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right now, looking at the teams on the second page, I would have to say Deek Xavier, Major Pride for me are safe. Hot Troops, I don't expect them to get like a 0-point day. So I think that both of them are going to be fine. But yeah, from 11th place below, it's where, you know, there's some wiggle room. Teams can go down significantly if they have a really bad day, or they can maybe have a big jump up if they just pop off with a chicken dinner here and there throughout these 6 matches for today. So as right now, big surprise for me is still to see Falcons in 15th position. Of course, they only played 6 matches, Hodrix, but like they are maybe in a spot where we could see them fall in the bottom 8, which is not what you'd want to see.
Yeah, this is the teams in the bottom 8 right now. And you can see some big names down here. Vampire, only 3 points total out of 6 matches. An unreal performance. I think Sertani would even just like posted that he was just like shattered that they saw that kind of performance. But I mean, I think he is right. There is still a light at the end of the tunnel. With 6 matches left today, you know, a good chicken dinner might just be their saving grace.
Exactly. I mean, right now they're 22 points behind Loops and FaZe, which are currently in 16th, 17th position, tied for the break-off point for the last chance. So yeah, one win, literally, Hodrix, if they can get that win in the first, I don't know, 2-3 matches today, that is going to put them back in a position where they can compete for that top 16. But where's the morale of Vampire Esport and IA after their horrendous day one, Hodrix? That's the big question, because if they're unfortunately a bit down under, well, they might have a bit of a rough time getting back up there.
Well, we got 6 matches today. We're going to start off in Sandhawk. Now, you're right. We're going to see some differences in teams. So I think IA are going to avoid that hot drop, like you mentioned. But I think we also might have a couple of hot drops we will see today. What do you think, Max?
I don't think we're going to have hot drops until the last match, possibly. Like,
sure?
That is going to be a thing. But I don't think we're going to have hot drops. No, I think that teams, at least this early on, like, when do you think hot drops happen here, Hodrix? What are your expectations?
Oh, honestly, I'm gonna be looking towards Ruins, right? I mean, you know, Inco, they don't mind a hot drop, you know, and Major Pride also like to drop Ruins. So I think it's still a possibility, and we might see that fight because Major Pride, they've had so many points. They really don't got nothing to lose, right? So they could afford that, right?
Yeah, there's no way they hot drop for Ruins. Like, it's Ruins. It's not that good. Like, please don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. I mean, I've seen teams hot drop Ruins in the past. Hot Jukes. I think it was in CSA actually with Mad Balls, and even back in Europe, they would fight for Ruins. It's happened in the past, so maybe they're just going to be very stubborn and not give it up here.
Well, Ruins may not be that good, but I'll tell you something that is real good. That's that Infinix GT20 Pro featuring dual chipsets and 144 AMOLED display. It delivers up to 120 FPS, providing teams with outstanding performance and visuals. And we got John Allen there on the screen. I love it.
Still there. Yeah, it's my favorite wallpaper. I'm going to keep it, you know, all the time on my device. And I just wake up and I see John Allen and I'm instantly having a great day. So, no, good job, John. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you guys want to have an even better day, of course, make sure you guys follow all the socials, hit the subscribe button. You guys know what to do because, man, you see some really awesome content behind the scenes.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool dances. They gave some lollipops to the players today after doing a fist bump. Like, wait, why am I not there? I want my lollipops too. What's happening?
Come on, dude, right? It's like going to the doctor's office, right? I want my treat. Let's go. By the way, guys, speaking of treats, right, go ahead and get one of your tickets here for the grand finals in London. Oh, that's going to be so exciting. There's going to be some exclusive merch there, all kinds kinds of goodies to go ahead and get that as well. So man, dude, today is the day where I heard that you were battling the dragon last night, right?
Yeah, I fought it like 2-3 times last night. I was facing the frozen fury in the caves under Erangel, and unfortunately, I gotta say, I not only got knocked by the dragon, Hot Jukes, I got flushed by the dragon afterwards. Bro, he was savage. It was like, I felt like I was playing against Alpha 7. What's going on? So, pro tip to you guys out there, when you're facing this dragon, just keep moving all the time, because if he combos you, like, you are done. So like, you need to make sure you're moving, because no movement equal you're out of there, you know, you're done.
You gotta see more movement. That is a fact, dude. Let's get it going. Let's take a look at our teams to focus. Now, I picked the 3 teams at the bottom, right? I mean, why wouldn't I? Because at this point, they're the ones in the real hot seat. You got Vampire, who need to start off strong. I8 need to get some points in Sandhawk. And, you know, I got to show some love to my boys Inko over there in Americas. I got Juancho there. I know that we got some viewer parties of the Juancho fan club, but these guys, I think, need a little bit of a miracle run as well.
I mean, as of right now, they got 15 eliminations, but where are the placement points for Inko? They have 0. They have 0 placement points. But for me, I'm going to go a little bit on the higher side of the rankings here, Hot Jukes. I'm going to be going for Falcons, FaZe, and Tiamba. I mean Falcons because I'm the #1 Falcons fan still, until PMGC maybe fails, but we know what these guys can do. But FaZe, realistically, Hot Jukes, my kind of breakdown for them is I have a lot of hope for them going into Miramar specifically, because Stalwart's not here anymore. They can revert back to their previous drop of Picardo and play the game plan they prepared initially heading into this year's PMGC. So because of that, I think that FaZe, if they're in a position where they can compete for top 16 going in the last 2 matches, there's a very, very good chance we could see them do a final push in top 16.
Ooh, that'd be interesting, but I'm honestly a little bit worried when it comes to FaZe, right? At least when it comes to a little place called Sandhawk in particular, right? Because in this first match, we know they're gonna like to drop in that trifecta area, right? Well, there's another team that likes to drop in that trifecta area, and that is Zeus Esports. So, I mean, I think that there is a possibility we see 2 kind of hot drop scenarios here off the rip.
Yeah, I mean, currently, with that kind of hot drop, I think Zeus should be the one to maybe give it up, because FaZe are, of course, tied for 16th with 25 points. So normally, the losing team, I'd always recommend Hot Jukes, if they're involved in an early hot drop, it's to have the team that's the lowest in the rankings give it up. We've seen that happen with FaZe versus Stalwart over Picardo, and I think we should see something similar here. So I think Zeus should be the one to move, or something that's very feasible with Trifecta on the river, Hot Jukes, is to
kind of hot drop scenarios here off the rip.
With that kind of hot drop, I think Zeus should be the one to, or something that's very feasible with so much. I don't think that agreement is going to be of the hour, of the occasion, Hot Jukes, for today's 6 matches.
Yeah, I mean, we the day to day, so
you know exactly where teams are going to drop, how they're going to rotate, and you avoid it like the bloody plague going in these matches, because one bad game could be the nail in the coffin for you and your team.
Yeah, for sure. Now, there are a couple teams, right, that performed really, really well on their first day. Okay. Now, going into this one here, they have so much room, and I'm talking about a team like Major Pride. They had 50 points right now, so they have that they're gonna.
I think they'll do that to. I think hot drops 4 matches is just not realistic. Completely truthfully honest, I think towards the end of the day they can, like, oh, we see potentially Vampire as a threat if they're starting to climb, or maybe Falcons, like these teams that have a lot of global experience, Hot Jukes. I think those are the teams you want to hit hard on the head, get rid of them as soon as possible to maybe have an easier chance. Choosing for like your DX, your Major Pride, even maybe IWNRX and Mir and Sejong could be a big option as we reach the end of today, because again, it's going to be intense, and under pressure some teams might just be willing to go for those big plays to hopefully eliminate the competition early on.
Oh boy, folks. Well, let's get it going here. The pressure is definitely on. We are locked, loaded. You can see these folks are in the lobby, ready to go. Will we see that northwestern circle? I don't know, but here we go. Match number 1, last day of the survival stage. Let's take it on to some of the best casters in the business, John Allen and Blake.
And we are going to be getting all up in the business of this Sandhawk game with the removal of the threatening, oppressive, dominant force of Group Green. It's Group Red and Group Yellow's turn to try and step into the limelight. So far, I think it's undeniable that Group Green has been the most solid group in the survival stage. If you disagree with me, you are unfortunately wrong on that front.
In your DMs telling you off. Telling you that you are wrong, that they are right. I've got some things to say. That schism between Group Green and Group Red and Group Yellow is certainly there, and it's because Green comes off a very fresh performance from their previous week. They were all fighting in a very, very reasonable lobby, and some of these other groups have been absolutely dumpstered by some of the strongest squads over in Group Red and Group Yellow. Today is going to be the weirdest day though, John. This is going to have a tremendous effect on the rankings in terms of just the fact that Group Green is out. Now there is so much more opportunity for these teams to score points. So we've done the projections, we've done the calculations in the back end, but in my opinion, although those calculations and projections are very valid and useful, I don't think things are going to play out any way that we can predict stat-wise today.
It's really difficult. I mean, to call any individual team making that rise, absolutely, but it's just impossible. We are not going to see a Northwest Circle, of course, on this map. Why would we do that? We've seen it so many times. Come on, we're going down south this time. Splitting it in the middle with the river across Painan. Looks like Incilio are going to make FaZe this time pretty tricky from the trifecta compound there. A flex out from Painan, actually making a big impact and potentially a big opening for teams like Zeus over on their northwestern island to be able to make their way on through. But you're right. I mean, projections are just that. They're projections, and their bearing on reality can be tenuous, especially over only 6 matches playing. And that is a massive amount of volatility.
Well, look, man, I really do believe in statistics and how calculations play out. We actually can go through them a little bit later in terms of where we think teams are going to end up. And I think that generally in a 16-team format where teams are all performing to a relative consistent standard, yes, that's absolutely fine. But here in survival stage, removing now the strongest group from the lobby and also a group that has terrorized a lot of our teams here, John. Yeah, we are going to have a massive change in performance because some teams that were struggling over the past 2 days might suddenly step up with the absence of Group Green. I'm very, very interested to see how things do play out. Right now, Loops is our bubble team at 25 points, but you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there that a lot of teams are hovering around that area already. I think this initial game is going to be very important for at least one team in terms of safety and where they can lock themselves up in terms of the standings, because it is going to be a case of every single match might be the match that confirms a team into that top 16. Getting that chicken dinner will be absolutely essential. Some teams might do it off the back of 6-7 eliminations per match, but each chicken dinner likely will be an alarm bell signaling that a team has made it into the last chance.
Could potentially be Zeus under a lot of pressure here. Really disastrous for them. Their maneuvers on the western side have been cut short, and that's Team Queso to be able to do a lot of the damage to them as well. That is a lot Points added early, 4, and they get away clean. All of them still alive. And in such a strong spot in this circle. Team Queso onto a winner, maybe.
Zeus getting cut out this early on is really bad for them. Actually, at 15 points, getting no points on their Sandhawk makes their next run very hard. They need to get 45 points roughly over the next 5 matches. That's not an easy result to go for. That's almost big games every single match. So we will see just exactly what the Turkish team can get done in the future. But right now, Team Queso extremely happy with that result. Inko, one shot very low inside the building with an active alongside him.
Trying to hop around past these bullets, whizzing past them. They're just the same bullets that you'll see in your games, but they are far more deadly in this situation. Teams on the tables so unwilling to give ground, but they don't really have a choice when everyone else is bearing down upon them. Falcons, they've managed to transition from boot camp, but they're still on the northeast side. A lot of teams opting to go southwest, but not Getso Roy, not IWNRX. They're going to fight around the cave mound.
And leave themselves pretty exposed over towards that eastern side at least, but it is a good landing point in terms of vision around the map. To siphon some of that information off is very nice. In terms of the rankings, though, 9th place being 58 points is worrying. Some of our squads. And I mean, especially so for 4MV. What did they end up on yesterday? Was it 64 points? Am I correct in saying 63?
68, I want to say. Yeah, 68 points for 4MV. So that's the low end of Group Green.
Yeah, so 10 more points would put you ahead of 4MV. And 2 teams are very close to hitting that marker, with Major Pride and DX Xavier already at 58 points and 50. So we could be cutting teams out relatively fast, depending on how well Major Pride and DX Xavier can do. Both teams have already had good Sandhawks in the past. Major Pride used to be known as a team for Sandhawk. They had a very different team back then, but still Elementrix, Becca, both are very experienced on this map in terms of playing on the northwest side. We do head down towards the south, though, so it will be a slightly different story for them.
Yeah, there seem to be Major Pride already up to the coastline in a decent position, unless it goes over towards the cave this time around. DX Xavier, and you're talking a bit about Major Pride, and DX Xavier in general, I think have been the most impressive part of this lobby. You can see the difference right between 10th and 11th. They are definitely clear ahead. And DX Xavier currently has the highest point average in the entire lobby, which is crazy considering that day was entirely against Group Green, who did so much work. On the circle, they could have a really solid spot on the hills to the east of Hainan. The cave.
So Roy finding 2 off the back of it. Goodness me, Neil. Now, has worked out, honestly. The Falcons, on the other hand, very much not so. Down 4 players already in 15th place, only getting 1 elimination off the back of this game. Vampire also lost a player. Now for Vampire, it is most likely done for them. I think they're one of the few teams that we can kind of call out here. To put it into perspective, they would need a 10-point game every match for just a tiny sliver of a hope to get in. 63 points. I do not see Vampires making it in unless they have, which they always keep in the back pocket, those comeback moments. And I think that is something that Vampires very much known for, but losing a player early doesn't bode well.
Losing Stoned early on, but they are in a position that is not unlikely to see a later stage of this game, but the difficulty is, of course, leaving here. Look at Loops' lineup on them. There's no way, unless they find a pick over towards the high ground, that they can make too much of a move. But actually, Loops are going to retreat a little bit, and Vampire take shots, harrying them as they fall back slightly. IWNRX on the far side of the cave hill will be that roadblock to the rotate from Loops. And actually, on this circle, Loops is kind of more trapped than Vampire, weirdly enough, even though they have oversight onto it. Vampire closer to the middle. Loops has to rotate either through IWNRX, Inco, or Vampire. So they have to take a fight on this next rotate.
That next rotate will be extremely important as well, considering we're kind of on this crossing, right, where we have the river passing through Camp Charlie. Most likely teams will have to move down towards the southwest or back up towards that northeastern. Cave is very populated right now. It's a crowded area. You know, it's uncomfortable and a little bit hot over at that position. Bgxavier making a pretty wild rotate through, but maintaining the sight lines away from the rest of their squad, so they do make it through with all 4 players, though they take a heavy lick of damage. There's 1 player at least getting knocked on the back lines.
Yeah, they give up Lamborghini, but that is a price they seemingly are willing to pay. That is a nasty circle. Oh my god. The Bantai shift, this is about, I want to say like 60% water in this circle right now for stage 4. People are going to be getting wet, and Getzeroy going to lead the charge, going for a dunk first with Carr.
In terms of consistent performances, this cuts it out of the question anymore. It's never going to be consistent with a circle like this. You had to pray and hope that you got the circle shift off the back of it. And Team Queso, very happy with their position. Although in the past, we've seen Team Queso be cut down before, completely shut down on strong positions on the map. Now is the time for Team Queso more than ever at 26 points into this game to really extract some big value out of this one. Get themselves up to 40 points. Suddenly they're looking so much happier going into the rest of today. Now, the question is whether Team Case can actually get that done, because the amount of times they've been backstabbed and just allowed it to happen, it's a little bit too frequent for me to like personally. Inco now sending nades over towards Mirin Sejong, who have had a massive dip in performance.
Nades over from Inco towards Mirin Sejong. Hoxie down, Seiwu can't really spend too much time going for this res, and another nade in may just make it impossible. The final tick down, doesn't have the time to get to his teammate. Mirin Sejong losing a player. Teams trying to make that crossing, trying to make it work, and Inco holding on to their slice of it. Vampire, this is still over on the eastern side of the river, and Luke's opted to go for that direction for the fight. Get towards the river. Vampire still have 3, but Schweppes has been taken down by a nade. A double knock. 1 from the nade, 1 from the sidelines, and in hops Newsy. Schweppes can get res, and the Vampires may just live to fight another battle.
Really good stuff. For Vampires, that is so important. IWNRX are now rocking up over towards Cave side, looking to control this position like 4 Grizzly Bears here from the Cave. Looking down towards Vampire, who is the prey. And do have that high ground to work with. These teams need to move, importantly. Schweppes attempts to find a sideline angle, but the smoke dissipates at a bad time at stage 3. This will start to hurt quite a bit. They need to find some kind of opening off the back of this. They have vehicles, but what a nice angle there from Zedwolf, all the way off towards that northern side.
Having a high ground, off angle, Kind spots Tony K, and the blue zone's upon them now. It's only stage 3, but blank, the landmass available here. This is a stage really nasty. The Camp Charlie situation only going to get worse from here. IWNRX trying to get to the coastline. Sure, you can invest a lot in taking down Vampire, but they are kind of throwing away the rest of their game. They're committing to this side to get these Elim points, and if they're able to get the rest of them, they're up to 5 on the game, which most likely would be enough to get to last chance if you can keep up that average per match. Circle pops, and it is going to fully confirm down to that southwest side, so no slice of it for Paragin left. Bgxavier managed to make a cross, and over the side we go. Camp Charlie on the north edge, but Bantai a major feature.
Massively. I think for Vampire, it's most likely done and dusted here, but they will double their point scoring with that knock over towards Zedwolf. A double first aid kit, which I did not see coming through. They were both on 1 HP, essentially, John. Out comes Frozen. Good shot out the side of the vehicle. 4 points total. I thought it was all done there for Vampires, but somehow, miraculously, they make it out. And now we're looking heading towards the water. Potentially live this game out a little bit further. Schweppes immediately diving down towards the deeps because they need to get deep into this game.
Everybody's going to have seen that crash. Paragin, the backstop for Bgxavier. You can see the forward 2 players playing up to the cliffs. They're also going to be aware of this. I don't think there's a way that Vampire get away from this one. Paragin's going to have to regroup at some point. Team Queso have oversight with Melodious, who's on a wide flex out, and there it goes. That's Vampire getting eliminated. The points going to Bgxavier. They have 4 points now, and that is a towards Paragon. So Dixovia, 2 players left.
6 points for Major Pride and 4 for Xavier. Both place themselves in a really good position here to qualify. It comes down to those placement points that come through, but 10 teams still in this one. I8, they said it was all about mentality. I can only agree because things do go from bad to worse. If you lose horrendously on a Sandhawk, it can kill how you think about the rest of your game, really, in terms of the upcoming matches. But it's a nice outside chance here for ASI8 over on the western side, John. I actually do like the position. It's going to be a little bit difficult and will require them to eliminate some of the opposition up towards their north and south side, but I think they can do it.
They don't have too many chances to take a dip in performance. On these games. I mean, you're talking about Vampire needing maybe 10 points every single match, right? They've just only gotten 4 in this one. For ASI8, it's not too far off either. Sure, maybe you reduce that to an 8, but it's still really, really tenuous, and I'm not sure that they can do it, given their performances that we've seen from them on their last day of gameplay. We'll see if they can stand tall here. This wide flex from Team Queso now sits straight in the middle of this circle. What? A big pickup on the picture-in-picture there with FaZe. Able to keep Venturas in, moving in along the side, and BTR not able to handle it. Unaware, maybe, but danger is spotted. Mela now the last to go for the fight. It's against Satar. The shot's not quite connecting, but the last one does, and BTR may be able to get the full reset. They've got 27 seconds to get everyone back up and going.
Such an incredible fight there from Venturas. I'm surprised he didn't flush any of those targets, though. I think you got to assume that you're going out at that point. Melo was a little bit far behind, and just getting the flushes might have been the better option. You're right, BTR might be able to get a full reset. He's looking a little bit tough there. ASI8 looking to clear out that northern side, like I was saying earlier. Noki taking a couple of shots from the sidelines, tickling away at him. We'll be able to get back, and 7 first aid kits indicate this man is going to be living for a while.
I mean, see how much longer. But that is a swift reverse there. Nicely done there. Finding some style on the backup. Does go down though, unfortunately. A shot is threaded through, despite some fancy maneuvers. The high ground that Team Queso has is so powerful with 2 players there. BTR going to look to try and sweep along that ridgeline, assault it from that sidelines. Melodious now trapped in this split, and Team Queso may have held too much ground here.
For Melodious, I do like his position in terms of holding out other teams, but it has got to the point in time where he's like, oh crap, I cannot leave. Like, I am stuck here on the northeast side. There's no way I'm regrouping. And this is what we talk about with Team Queso. Sure, they've got 6 eliminations, but this should have been a much bigger game, right? I think they could have easily held 4 players. I think going for a split on this type of circle is the wrong decision, John. Purely off the back of the fact that there's no real strong chance to regroup with your squad come stage 5, stage 4, with the amount of angles that are held around the map. So for Team Queso, they could have had 4 players down towards Collega, as well as Papi Potro, and now they cut that out. But the question is, how much longer can they live this one through, with ASIA being able to get over towards that western side? Very nicely done.
Next circle comes on through. We're going southwest. If Melodious can get the regroup, Team Queso should be on a winner here. I don't think there's much more to say about it than that. The approach, though, is fraught with danger. Tiamba will have broadside on that rotate. Team Queso need to try and put Papi Potro into a position to deal with it, but then he's got BTR to try and handle as well on this angle. There is a lot of pressure on these two players right now, and I think BTR is in prime position to just take this one away from them. If they do, it should be a BTR win.
I like how you quickly went from this is a Team Queso win to this is a BTR win.
Well, it should be a Team Queso win, but only if they can hold it.
Yeah, I mean, as two players, it's tough. I think that, you know, the actual crashes will come in thick and fast over towards Team Queso's location. I think the best thing for Team Queso right now is this high ground position coming through from Melodious. Good shots over towards Becca, but not quite able to finish him out. And he's going directly into the waiting arms of Incilio, who do not greet him at all. Just let him pass straight through the door.
They let him on in, but is it into a trap? He's going to hit the deck and maybe get some healing done. No, that is dispatched. And is that coming through from... Yeah, they came through from Team Queso. They managed to take that point away, but Major Pride get 8 elims on the game. They're up to 58 plus, I think, is that 1 or 2 placements there as well. So they are chilling right now. They are going to be putting themselves that much closer to getting a spot into this next one. Yeah, Savior also going down with probably somewhere close to 63, 64 points. And again, another team looking good to try and confirm themselves in. Melodious cut down on the regroup, and now is BTR's opportunity.
Yeah, BTR has to play very careful, though, because I know there's multiple teams here hiding out on the western side, and I like the fact that BTR is being cautious on this. They do find XC from Tiamba, who did make it in from the pontoons, and the circle shifts over towards this compound. So all eyes over towards ASIA and Team Queso. The 2-2 split between them, with Incilio holding out in the open ground. BTR should be able to clean this out. Technically, they will need smokes to push up towards these buildings, but with Melodious being out of the picture, they no longer have that alarm bell in the backside here for them, providing that information back across. Tiamba working their way through.
Incilio will be in the way, though, and you can see there's only one route of approach. They'll have to hold out in a 2-2 offensive. Incilio moving in. BTR, remember, they got a full reset. They almost all went down. It was on one fight. Satalis kept them in. And now they've managed to push up to one of the most important positions in this circle, potentially finding a chicken dinner on the back of it. And if FaZe had taken down 1 or 2 of their players, it could have been completely different. But here we are. This is the reality we live in. The nade from Zuxi. Looking to put even more pressure over towards Team Queso. ASI8, they're down the cliff face, but could also third party.
The matter is here for BTR is a very good read over towards Team Queso. And it starts out strong. They only have a few nades to work with. Papi Potro already very low. Does have to back it off. Good protection there coming through from Collega on the back lines. It's had to move up, but an awesome nade will take down Collega. Papi Potro's next, and BTR claim this compound and are looking very strong. 8 elimination game, though. Good stuff. For BTR, though, we'll talk more about after the game concludes, because there is still more to be done with ASIA, Incilio, and BTR, as well as Tiamba, all looking for those top 3 positions.
BTR, they need to establish this perimeter quickly. Satar being on the outside is so important. If he goes down, the wind is out of their sails and they need to be careful. He gets knocked. A step up from QZ gets flushed immediately. And now they need to keep putting pressure forwards if they want to hold on to this circle, because Incilio are moving in. Tiamba controlling that cliffside, and you've still got IQ to worry about. A nade over the top. They step out and Bond goes down. Now they need the hilltop. BTR flexing with 3 players alive. They move on through, and Incilio opts to lock in that second place rather than trying to play for first. IQ is down on the sidelines, right up against the blue zone. Stage 9 closes, and on the cliff faces of Bantai, the final fight will unfold. It's 1 player now left. Fash in a 1v3 behind the vehicle. Nade over the top, goes long.
Won't find him just yet, but BTR on for a winner here. A really good game from BTR overall, and they will finish it out. The read came through when they moved towards that compound because they were so very worried about it, but as soon as they get easy entry into that side building, they know it's a 2-man. There's no world in which case you don't have a forward vanguard in that building if you're playing at 2 or 3 or more players. So the fact they're able to get in there, they immediately set their sights aggressively over towards that second building Really, really well played to BTR, and that might just give them a chance into qualify.
BTR win, baby. Let's go, man. That'll definitely heat things up here, Max.
Oh, definitely for them. I mean, BTR going to be so happy for getting that win, but can we start off right out of the gate, Hodrick? What a weird circle.
Dude, Southern Circle,
what a weird circle. He's playing mind games with us the entire time. Like, oh, you have 60% water. Now we go back onto Bantai. Oh, no, you think it's going to go downhill? It's going to go up here onto Team Kesso. Like, it was all over the place, but BTR sweeping the edge, which I have to say, looking at BTR, the edge sweeping playstyle is not something that I really see this team do too often, but the way they did with FaZe, then Team Kesso, it was a thing of absolute pure beauty, Hot Jukes. And you know what, with their position before this game in 14th position, maybe this is the match to qualify them in top 16. That's how many points they were able to secure in this match.
Man, it's got to also do big things for their mental game as well. You know, now that they got this big chicken dinner off the rip, they can kind of, I mean, you don't want to relax fully, but I mean, gosh, that big weight on their shoulders has definitely got to be lighter now. Look at the stats right here. Zuxi with 3 eliminations, Satar as well with 3. Dude, I mean,